All right, hello friends. Welcome. First of all, let's get official. I can't. Woohoo! Um, welcome to the you can't quite control it world of 30-40 minutes ago. Needless to say, the sun was not shining on my canvas. It's going to shine on my canvas. So here I am. You really can't paint with sun on your canvas, but the good news is so I'll be okay in just a few minutes. Ooh, going quicker than I thought. Just a few minutes, even. How's that for a mess of abstract? I have absolutely no idea how much of that will show through in the finished. All the marks I put up there are bold, interesting, fascinating. Generally speaking, my job at the moment is to make sure all those marks are those things. All right, let me turn you around for just a minute and show you where I am. Hello, Unc 60. To paint. Let's see. Turn you around a little bit. Wait, that's the wrong direction. Hang on. Yeah, boy. I have very intermittent broadcasting, don't I? All right, that's what I'm planning on. About that. It says here that I'm supposed to change. Given how much trouble we've already got just in the first 1 minute of 2 minutes of broadcasting, that might be a good idea. So to make the technical adjustments they asked me to make. So we're just gonna have to go with it for right now and hope it'll get better. So I started to tell you there are two things that I didn't realize when I was setting up here. One is that the sun was going to shine on my canvas, but I think we're done with that now. So this is not Bike Week. I'm familiar with Bike Week. This is not that. Every year in Davidson, riders converge from all over the eastern United States and raise a holy ruckus. Corner. Am I choppy? Can you guys even hear me? Anyway, so I walked down 40 feet to my left and went, oh. So I have a feeling that I'm going to get a lot of noise. Whew. So I am hoping that the scene across the street from me here, that the lighting will get exciting and dramatic. I just discovered a few minutes ago that the sun setting to my left, as you can see, is not open. I'm not doing a very good job of accurately rendering these buildings at the moment, but that's all right. I'll get there. Lots of changing of my mind. The stream is working better now. I'm going to take, again, just a minute and show you what I'm looking at. Something like that. Quite that wide. I think that's what I'm aiming for. And so, of course, the lighting will be more interesting. It's really kind of, you know, they came by, of course, several people came by while I was setting up. And they asked me, of course, what am I going to paint? And I typically respond in a predictably lackluster fashion, like, huh, really? And I think the main thing, because the light's not very exciting. Now, I've already lost my bet, lost my gamble as to whether it is not, but I'm still hoping that we'll get some sunset glow, and at the this scene is frankly a little bit too much like the scene I did just a couple when I was in Moore Square Park, and I painted again basically a row of restaurants. Remember the poorhouse and so on. What's the word? I'm not thrilled about the idea of doing another scene so restaurants too, but when I got here tonight, this scene behind me just seemed to call to me, so I said, okay, that's it. I'm not gonna wait. The buildings are from right to left: green, yellow, greenish gray, and red brick. So green, yellow, green, I'll call it. Green, yellow, green, red. Some glazes along those lines early on. The yellow ones, so we'll start with that. I just got sprayed this afternoon before I headed downtown with a whiteout pen. That's right, you heard. Accumulated on it over the years or months. I want to say, okay, I hope you tidies, which, you know, that's most of us. I'm not doing anything weird, but I happen to be modeling here pretty well, you know, how to paint loose. It's in the movement. It's not a, you know what? I'm going to give you a painting tip. And I'm not sure I've ever done this on video. Surely I have on audio. Painting class live. Are we breaking up? Doing okay? Sometimes when I'm teaching a painting class live, I'll pick up a brush. If it's a drawing class, I'll turn the pencil around to the butt end of the pencil so that the students are not. If you're taking a drawing class and the teacher is doing a demo, then you want to see his or her drawing, right? And very often is my movements. I want you to see my arms, hands, and brushes, or pencils if it's a drawing. I want you to see. Need to get a hold of to be a better painter is ignore the paint, ignore the marks, pay attention to the movement, which is all of us pretty much. Not quite, but very, very close to all of us. Ignore the marks that I leave, but do pay attention to movements. That's what you want to imitate. Ignore the marks. Just pay attention to the mannerism, if I can use that word. Nobody can move like anybody, but you can be influenced by me. All right, you know that. One of the things I like about these pencils, and by the way, I think I always talk about them, but they're made by Jerry's Artorama, Jumbo Jet Black pencil, and it's a completely serendipitous accident that I use them, that I stumbled. I think it was 3 years ago. Don't quote me on that. I did a whole bunch of abstract paintings that summer, just for fun. Abstract paintings that summer. And evidently I already had some of these pencils in my, you know, stash of art stuff. Discovered I liked the effect, the look so much that I said, hey, maybe I could use these in my regular painting, if you will. So what I started to say is, one of the nice things about these pencils is that they play well with both oil and acrylics on the canvas, and drawing in the soup, if you will. The buildings across the street from me have all been restored. By the same guy. Hello. And in the last 15 years, The one on the right, as you may have seen, is a coffee shop. The one in the middle is coffee and, or I don't know, it's called the Raleigh. It used to be the newspaper called the Raleigh Times, 100 years ago or something. So now it's a restaurant called the Raleigh Times. And kind of a, area in our downtown, all developed by the same man, by the way. And I'm going to make a big editorial decision right here. There are no so it might make it less likely for the developer to buy the painting from me, but that was an extremely accurate painting, and umbrellas look nice. And this building right here, I just discovered after I got stomach right now, by the way. How is it that I'm always painting right at supper time? The height of the cars is really important. Talked before about, I used to not worry about cars very much. I would just leave them more abstract. Now I've changed my mind about that over in the last couple of years. Now I like to have. The other day about I'm going to try to change my terminology. I'm not going to talk about loose painting anymore, because I think that sends pencils. Let's go to white now. So not loose is too easily confused. I am not in favor anymore of loose drawing. I want, even if you will, you could use the word tight. You want tight drawing, but you want energetic marks. Big has messed a lot of people up, so I'm going to try to stop using it. I do not advocate loose painting. I advocate tight drawing, accurate drawing. Brush or pencil marks. If it's a drawing, pencil marks. If it's a painting, brush marks. I don't know, of course, that the cars that are there right now. You know what? Hang on. Since I'm drawing these cars fairly carefully at the moment, I'm going to pause here. Yeah, good. That's actually a nice selection of cars at the moment, so that's good. How are we doing? Doing okay? I am so sorry about the choppy quality. Uncle, I will let you do research for me. I'm all ears. The new GoPro, the latest GoPro, allows you to broadcast straight from their camera. The zoom feature. It may be that simply the new Mevo will have a better broadcasting. No, this is not a commission. Barbara, this is purely speculative. What the traffic, will be like tonight. It's always nice to sell a painting out on the street. The painting superimposed on my head. I saw that. That was two motorcycles close to each other, riding beside each other, each with their radio at positively, they're 2 blocks away now and it's still loud. Parts of my inner life that are not very nice yet. Because generally speaking, I think I'm against snobbery. Of course, unless it's me being the snob, then I'm for it. And but that's different. It is different because I'm not talking about electronic amplification. That's a instrument loud requires skill. Playing a radio over loud it requires not only no skill, there's generally a correspondence between the volume. There, I said it anyway. I couldn't resist. And that is terrible. I know that is not at all nice or friendly of me to even harbor such thoughts. So I told them to use the thoughts by dumping them out on you. I get to decide what color to make these umbrellas too. It can be any color I want. Hello. Almost fall weather here this week. This morning it was nice and chilly. 50 something. Not chilly compared to you northerners. But on here, so not exactly fall weather, but it'll come. Yes, there's an inverse relationship between the volume of one's music and their IQ. Oh, all right. Pure snobbery. You can ignore that statement. Sentiment. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, and I tend to favor. I talk about it all the time, but let me repeat it again. I'm doing a trick to help the acrylics, the white in this case, mostly, to dry more quickly, right? So that they'll dry more quickly. And yes, you may do that too. Just make sure that when you do it with bold, fast, and long movements. I did that. Bold and strong. I turned around, and forgive me, and some students were going, no, 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 no. Because flea flicker movements are ugly. As I usually say, if it's really ugly, I call them hugly. Ugly. Why are flea flicker movements? Because they're insecure. You're doing flea flicker because you don't know what to do. So it's just not a pleasant mark. It's not a. This is a pleasant movement. Got it? All right. Pleasant movements make pleasant marks. You cannot make pleasant marks. You cannot make pleasant marks with ugly movements. So it has to be a little bit of a ballet dancer in you, or some kind of dancer. There has to be a little bit of either one will do. To be a good painter, you have to move your body. Ooh, I've never said that before. I was going to finish that sentence and I thought, to be a good painter, you have to move your body. To be a good painter, you have to move your new people here, or anybody that missed my. See, I'm already talking about it. I told you, I did a video on, I think Thursday of this week, Wednesday or Thursday, and if you don't know, if that statement I just made, in order to do good painting, you need to move your body. If that's like completely confusing, like what? 716 maybe? Daily Art Adventure 716. The way I wanted it to, at least not yet. Yeah, move your booty. I said, you guys, I said, in order to paint well, you need to move. Take it. Ooh, it looks good on my screen of my phone. Yeah, that right there is probably, that's probably, you heard it here. Okay, now let me take a minute and do some shooting up the street here this way. That really is beautiful. I even like the black car here. See, in days past, years past, I would have. I think it creates a pleasant counterfoil. I'm using that word out of its actual definition, but on a wider angle now of this scene. I think it's, yeah, no, too late. I'm not gonna, I'll take some pictures home and maybe. All right, not too humid tonight. That's nice. It's a nice change, even though it was warm earlier. I'm going to do some more to following me. Do pay attention to what I'm about to do. The white, oh, sorry, hang on, you're facing the wrong direction. You're still looking at the beautiful down the street. You enjoyed watching those women walk up though, didn't you? Some of you, if you're not real familiar with my method, this white, pay attention to what I'm about to do next, which is glaze on top of this white. Okay, that's the thing that you are not accustomed to. That right there makes the paintings glow, is the layers of transparent color. I just sprayed myself again and my shirt again. Interspersed with
That's beautiful.
Thank you. The glazes on top of the white is a critical element in my technique. That's how I end up with, again, everything I just did. Doing some white. And then glazes on top of the white. Okay. Yep, I'm going to go straight to white right now. That painting opaque white into wet acrylic is quite pleasant.
Hey, I like that, bro. It's nice. Sweet.
In fact, painting really on a quest to loosen up. That is a trick that you should employ. Stop painting on dry. You're doing that because it's more comfortable, because you have control. Do you understand it? If you want to be a good painter, you have to let go of that overweening desire when you paint controlledly. And again, I'm just going to keep. If you wonder, if you're saying, what? What do you mean? Go back and watch the video that I did just a few days ago. which was a lesson in the argument, the visual, as best I could, and that it makes sense of these statements that I'm now making. Painters who are in the early part of their journey, they erroneously think that control is their friend, when in fact control is actually their enemy. Like stuff, sure, control is just fine, but if you want to break out of that into really good painting, then you have to let go of that control. Frame, ouch. Ouch. Which is a fair description of my manner of painting. Out of control, then I feel like you are perceiving the situation correctly. If you're not perceiving, but look, says I, right before our very eyes, what to our wondering eyes should have been here on this canvas. I don't mean a rendering. I don't mean a picture. I mean a painting. The salient element, the key element is composition. Okay? One of the main things that distinguishes and composition in the more sophisticated level of thinking is about composition. It's about major light, or the major light and dark areas. Are you with me? What I just said, that I said that one of the major differences between a painting and a picture, and again, forgive me, you people, picture. It's actually, the word is actually picture, P-I-C-T-U-R, picture. There's a C in it, there's a T in it. But for some reason, maybe just because I'm ornery, between a painting and a picture is composition. Now, and I think, thank you, that most half-decent photographers explain it, which I'm going to do. Because a good photographer, of course, a good photographer is very, very. Now, the best photographers are with me, composition has to do with the major light and dark areas. But a pretty good, like the law of thirds, and a decent snap shooter photographer will compose their photograph. And so I can imagine a pretty good photographer saying, position two. But I would say no, except for the very really good photographers. Forgive me, I'm inviting other people. All right, let me just jump to it. What is a good composition in painting? The major light or dark areas can be described. Composition happening here. It's very common in my paintings. It's basically a shaft of light from here down to here. The rest is dark. And that's just starting this second layer, second phase of white. Okay, you with me? Let me say it again. Good composition, but this is one of the simpler ways. You can really wrap your mind around this, and remember it and do it because it's simple. Let me repeat it. A good composition is one in which where either the major light or the major dark areas of the painting can be described with one word. Yeah. Moment. So what is starting? Yeah. So what started appearing here is a shaft of light. Once I see that, then I go, ooh, and I push it. It's nothing to do with, I didn't see a shaft of light on the road. That has to do with perceiving the same thing up here. This is blue sky. This is.
Yeah. Like, and you step away from it from here, you can kind of see it as
Yep.
well. Yeah, of course. Yeah, across the street, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be this building here.
No, that's right. Thank you.
Close.
Thank you.
Close too close.
Well, you wouldn't believe how many people. In fact, it's a good view. It's a good shot again right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop and take another picture because that might turn into another painting someday.
Yeah. Well, we got your downtown skyline. We're going to get you over
Cool.
to...
Evidently, they own one of my paintings. I thought they looked familiar. Yeah. The view, by the way, I'll turn you around just for fun. A pleasant enough view, but not. For the rest of the evening, if I want to see what I'm painting, I'll go to my phone, right? My backup. Let me take a minute to edit. Well, hang on. That one or no, that one. Yeah. Hang on just a second. Let me take a minute and all right. So that for the rest of the evening. There's a tree. The tree I feel is quite important, quite prominent, and quite important. It's a happily off-balance tree. I most of the time, trees in your painting should not be vertical, even if they are vertical, and make them have a little bit more energy. Unfortunately, this makes my job a little easier. So it just makes it a little bit easier because I can actually be representational in that regard. Now this tree, I'm changing my mind. I had it a while ago, I had it more, but it's more picturesque if I move it in a little bit. And as you can see, I made that lean a little bit as well. Off the screen, but the branches come in. So here's the third tree. all we see is the limbs coming in. I mentioned a while ago that I am doing a class in a couple months on painting trees. I'll be doing in preparation for that, I'll be doing quite a few broadcasts we'll be doing quite a bit of that, I imagine. So I'm doing dark details, dark things, dark drawing essentially right now. Call it drawing. Does that make sense? What is not drawing? It's big fat brushes making glazes and big bold strokes. But skinny moment, for the last several moments, I mean, so far, I've been using red, and of course all these colors are transparent, of course. I've been using red, maybe I don't know, rose red, magenta. There's a name. I'm drawing a blank. And combination. The point being, I want my drawing, whenever possible, not lack of color. My buddy, I've mentioned this before, my buddy Mike Rooney called me out on that several years ago. When you draw, don't draw with dull brownish colors. Now I still do sometimes, because sometimes I think it's the best solution. But most of the time, no. Adding in your painting, most of the time. Not always, most of the time. And as you can see, just so that and again, some of you would say, what? That's how come we're not Christian Hook or Richard Schmid. Anyway. Journey painters happen. So for instance, right now I told you I'm specifically, intentionally, so that I do not know what's because you want to know exactly what's going to come off on your canvas. You know, anyway, everybody wants to get loose. All right, I always white. Foliage, some leaves. What color do you think they should be? Fuchsia or burgundy. There. Why? Okay, let me, and I almost, here's a good rule of thumb. And again, I know I'm messing with all of you who success lies down the road of control or predict. Ain't necessarily so. Most of the time, not any time, but most of the time, if essentially a Cape Cod underpainting, sky under a blue sky, all right? More or less complementary. Foliage. Very often, I'll do this. And and you can see, can you see the photograph there, right? I feel like it's attractive. But it's also very, very dangerous because that much green is a very dangerous color. It's just really in danger. Complementary. Red, purple, burgundy under the green. Do just some drawing down here on these cars. I'm sharpening my pencils. I see. Yeah, I know you. Says I have a lot of patience to watch this. I can just see that, Karen. And sees what you're looking at and rolls his eyes. Was it a big eye roll? Like, good. Hi, Karen's husband. Hey, Joe. Oh no, that guy again. Uncle 60. Your wife did not use creating strife in your marriages here. It's not good news. Down and go spend time with your significant other. How's that for trees, eh? You know, don't you? In your painting, and they're standing up. Like some of these are sitting down, but all these people are standing up. Unless it's like a basketball convention. The average height of those heads, that is, without question, that is the literal horizon, right? And it helps to kind of keep one tall person, but on average, people are average. Duh. There's a deep statement. Just think about it for a while. I do so many, cityscapes and street scenes and so forth. It's even more fundraiser. I'll do a painting of the fundraiser itself. Hello.
Hey, that's good. I didn't want to interrupt.
Played. Nope.
to you or something. I have a store around the corner.
Oh, excellent.
If you ever wanted to do this in front or inside.
Oh, okay.
Artist
Where are you? Which direction?
Left at this corner. Technically, it's the next building that way. But
Oh, it's where the downtown Raleigh Alliance used to be?
Yeah, they're the ones
Excellent.
that got us the
Well, good to
spot.
meet you, Jamie.
Good to meet you too, Jamie.
I need to give all of my paints. Wait, you know what? I think I'm probably done with everything except white. I'm going to do one more layer of white. Just a minute here. Let's get our fingers all dirty. So one more layer of white, and because I'm going to take a break, I am going to go eat supper. Spinning ball of mystery, so that way you can take a break yourself and you'll be notified if when a little bit smaller brushes this time. Demonstrating for you here right now, certainly not be called sky holes. Again, I was not invited to the committee, whoever the committee was, but it was a stupid decision. That's just the way it goes. Every once in a while, somebody asks me if I ever finish. Yes, I have done that on several occasions. It's not a practice, but I have done it. And just for those of you who may care to hear, everything that I've done so far in this painting has been opaque white, right? So here I am, once again, I'm doing opaque white, but all the colors are transparent. There's been no opaque color. And finishing a painting in this style, if you will, in acrylics, is just continue with that repetition. Just keep unusual for me to do 3. Not extraordinary, but a little bit unusual. And is getting just slightly more accurate slightly finer details. Can you see that? Can you perceive that? I'm sure you can. So if you just continue that trajectory finer and continue with layers of mostly transparent. I hope you can picture that. It creates, in my opinion, quite a fun. After my big explosion of didactic, I discovered that the term loose painting is counterproductive, I believe. A good example of what I have been trying to do for a long time, but I haven't used the language rightly. I've still been using the word loose. Strokes, because you should get the impression as you watch me paint this car that I'm under it accurately. Loose is hardly the appropriate term. Accurate but energetic stroke. And of course I'm not done yet. I've got all the real detail, of course, comes in the oil stage. Gremlin or something. I don't know the names of cars anymore. Used to when I was a kid, but don't anymore. So forgive me for just a second. I'm going to the oil stage. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I definitely want everything to be and it's not an accident that this car is white and most of the other cars are going to be considered. Thank you. This car rests in the shaft of light part of the painting, right? If you're an oldie, if you're following me much, you've heard me talk about this before, but one of the answers to how do you paint trees, one of the answers is in layers. 15 or whatever. Layers and layers and layers. The more layers, the more realistic it can become. We see some really horrendous trees out there in the painting world. Now this is over datified, so I'm going to do some. Glad I caught that before it dried. It would have been a lot bigger. challenge later on. All the lights upstairs in this building. We're going to turn at least those two on. Why? Because they're in the shaft of light, right? This is a black car. The darker a surface is, the more that surface reflects reflections on it. I added a car down here in the last layer. It's big empty road space down here. And that car will be, and the one behind it too, which is parked, those cars will be mostly camouflage, as will this one. Camouflaged people before. That's basically where I want the rendering of the car, in this case, the rendering of the vehicle, to be accurate so that it visually recedes, goes back. Now, I have to do something I'm not thrilled to do, but it's the easiest solution. I'm going to so I'm breaking the pattern. Do you understand? Up until now, all the colors on my canvas have been transparent. But I am now mixing up a dull brownish green to work on this building back here. And the only reason, if I were doing nothing but acrylic painting, I think I probably wouldn't do this. I would do this in white and then do dull green on top of it. I'm just speeding up the process by doing a little bit of opaque, and it's really not opaque. Building, both these buildings have a greenish cast. This building is literally painted a dull green. This one is gray, but in the evening light that I was looking at. So that'll just save me a little bit of work. And alas, I'm going to do the same thing, same concept, mixing up another again. And the purpose of that is just to save time. As I like to say, I have not got all day. That's a quote of somebody, but I forget who. Okay, more tree holes, more or less. It's probably good enough right there. Dirty orange red. to slap down some bits of color here and there. And I discovered it was, hey, wait, that's a good flesh tone. So let's do some people. I am more here than actually are. Although I just turned around and you know what? The tables are half full. All the ones, the blue umbrella paintings. I really exaggerated the people there. Whoops. There is a mistake here on this car in front of me. Fix it right now. David would have caught me on that. Wouldn't you, David? I saw you here earlier. Don't know if you're still with us or not. One-handed painting. I can do it for a few minutes and then it starts driving me berserk. Like that one mark right there, that's all. Everything else is fine. All right. We've been talking to each other, which is great fun. Frozen, are we? We keep freezing, don't we? Sorry about that, gang. Not much I... Can you see me? Kinda. Oh wait, I'm gonna sit on a stool. Whew. Whew, my feet. Oh, so many comments, so many chats. To wear an aluminum tinfoil antenna hat. Oh, that's where the Martian comments came in. I saw those and didn't know what they were Uncle, I said I would not chat today. It's a drug. Glad to be your drug of choice. Symptoms will be minimal. I promise. Barbara, good question. Do most of you try Dan's process to paint? And doing the abstract first messes you up, huh? Barbara, yeah, traditional oil painter. I'm really messing you up. Barbara asked, did I ever go live on Facebook? Yes, I started this Facebook. Then I was painting at a big festival and they were playing copyrighted music and Facebook kicked me off Facebook for 2 months, which I thought was draconian. So they kicked me off. So then I went to YouTube. At the time, I already had 100 times more followers on, or 1,000 on YouTube. So anyway, I've been on YouTube ever since. But I'd actually like to broadcast on both at the same time. That's a technology I haven't. Obviously, I'm still struggling with this one camera, so I don't dare go to 2 until I work out some of these bugs. Song. What was that guy's name? I forget. He's away from my subject. I don't. Has to do with sun and pedestrian traffic and what else? And I want a face so that people can So I'm entertaining people so people can see what I'm doing. And I would waste a whole lot of energy walking around my canvas to see what I'm facing. Marionette says, what's the mix of green? Green and a dull brown and white. That's all it was. Brown, green, brown, and white. All right, gang. I'm going to end this broadcast here, as I said, and go grab some supper. And thanks for all your company and your chat. I would think half an hour or so before I get back. Okay? Thanks. Bye-bye. And when the population thins out, things get